Now turn to Section 1. Section 1. You will hear a conversation between two friends, Anya and Leo, planning a charity cycling challenge. First, you have some time to look at questions 1 to 6. Hey Leo, you still up for discussing the charity cycling challenge? I've got some preliminary details here.
Absolutely, Anya. I've been looking forward to this. What have you got?
Okay, so the official name of the event is going to be Wheels for Wildlife. It's being co-organized by the University Sports Department and, importantly, the Environmental Society, which is great because they have a big outreach.
Environmental Society. Perfect. More people will get involved. What about dates? My calendar is filling up.
They're proposing the third Saturday in September. So, that's September 21st if it's confirmed. It gives us a decent amount of time to train, I think.
The third Saturday in September. Got it. And where are we actually cycling to?
The route starts, naturally, from the university main gates, and the finish line will be in Riverton Village. It's a really scenic route, apparently.
Riverton Village. Nice. How far is that?
They've estimated it to be about 75 kilometers. Definitely a challenge, but achievable with some training.
Yeah, 75K is serious. And what's the fundraising goal per person? I need to start thinking about who I'm going to pester for donations. 150 pounds, right? And what's the deadline for actually signing up?
They're asking for a minimum of 150 pounds per participant. It sounds like a lot, but for a good cause, I think we can hit that. The registration deadline is August 25th. They need to finalize numbers for safety and logistics. So, not too long left to commit. Listen to the second part of the conversation and answer questions 7 to 10. Take half a minute.
So, beyond just registering, what else do we need to be aware of? Like, for bike maintenance?
Yes. They've made it clear that a compulsory pre-event check for your bike is required. You can either take it to a registered bike shop, or they'll have mechanics on site on the morning of the event to do a quick check, but it's essential for safety.
Good to know. And personal safety during the ride? Do we need specific gear?
Definitely. Besides a helmet, which is obvious, they're insisting on specific protective gear, like reflective vests, especially if we're cycling near dusk. They're very strict about that.
Makes sense. And the fundraising target, how do we prove we've hit it?
We need to provide online submission proof, basically, a screenshot or printout from our online fundraising page showing we've reached the minimum 150 pounds by the deadline. It's all tracked digitally.
Okay, that's straightforward enough. What about after the event? Is there a big celebration?
Yes, they're planning a big get-together at Riverton Village Hall. It's free entry for all participants, and they'll have food, music, and give out certificates. We just cycle, raise money, and then enjoy ourselves.
Sounds like a great incentive. All right, I'm feeling more confident about this now.
Me too.
This is the end of section 1. Take some time to look at your answers.
Now turn to Section 2. Section 2. You will hear a radio interview with Dr. Maya Sharma, an urban historian, discussing the cultural significance and revitalization of a city's historic market quarter. First, you have some time to look at questions 11 to 15. Welcome back to Urban Chronicles. Today, we're delighted to have Dr. Maya Sharma, a distinguished urban historian, joining us to discuss the fascinating revitalization of our city's historic Old Market Quarter. Dr. Sharma, thank you for being here. My pleasure, Julian. It's a truly exciting time for the quarter. So, before we talk about the future, could you give us some insight into its past? Absolutely. The Old Market Quarter, or the Exchange as it was once known, has always been the city's vibrant heart. From its very inception in the 17th century, it was more than just a place to buy and sell goods, it was a hub for cultural exchange, where ideas, languages, and traditions converged. Merchants from all over the region would meet there. And what was its primary role? Initially, its primary role was to supply the burgeoning city with fresh produce and agricultural products. Farmers brought in their harvest, fishermen their catch, and it was a lively, bustling place. As the city grew, it diversified, but food was always central. And then, what led to its decline? Sadly, during the latter half of the 20th century, like many historic urban areas, it suffered from neglect and urban decay. There was a significant lack of investment, as newer shopping centers opened up on the outskirts. Buildings fell into disrepair, and many businesses left. It really lost its vibrancy. But now, it's making a comeback. What's the driving force behind the current revitalization? It's a multifaceted project, but a key aim is to attract more visitors back to the area, both locals and tourists. We want to restore its role as a dynamic, desirable destination. This involves a mix of restoration, new developments, and cultural programming. And I hear there's a major new cultural center being developed? Yes, the Exchange Arts Hub is central to the plan. It will include flexible exhibition spaces for local artists, pop-up shops, and a dedicated performance area for music, theater, and dance. It will breathe new life into the quarter. Now you have some time to look at questions 16 to 20.
It sounds like a comprehensive plan. Could you outline the different phases of this revitalization project?
Certainly. The project is structured into 5 distinct phases. Phase 1 is the infrastructure upgrade. This has focused heavily on improving public transport links to the quarter, making it much more accessible via new tram lines and improved bus routes, along with pedestrian walkways. Phase 2 is the historical restoration. This is perhaps the most visually striking phase, involving painstaking work to repair original building facades and roofs, restoring them to their former glory using traditional methods and materials. Phase 3 focuses on commercial development. Here, the aim is to bring in new life by introducing new retail and dining options, from independent boutiques to diverse restaurants, creating a vibrant economic hub. Phase 4 is all about green space creation. This phase is focused on developing new parks and gardens within the quarter. A key aspect here is the planting of drought-resistant species, ensuring the green spaces are sustainable and low maintenance in our climate. And finally, Phase 5 is community engagement. This is an ongoing process, but its main characteristic is emphasizing establishing local partnerships with schools, charities, and community groups to ensure the quarter serves all segments of society and continues to thrive.
That's an incredibly detailed and thoughtful approach, Dr. Sharma. Thank you so much for sharing your insights today.
My pleasure, Julian. This is the end of section 2. Take some time to check your answers.
Now turn to Section 3. Section 3. You will hear a discussion between 3 university students, Maya, Ethan, and Chloe, during a study group session, debating the societal impact of artificial intelligence on creative industries. First, you have some time to look at questions 21 to 25. All right, everyone, for our seminar next week on AI's impact on creative industries, I've been thinking about the core arguments. I believe a strong point to make is that AI raises significant intellectual property concerns. Who owns the AI-generated art, especially if it's based on existing human work? It's a legal minefield.
That's a valid point, Maya. But personally, I think AI's biggest contribution is that it offers new tools for rapid prototyping. For designers or architects, being able to quickly generate multiple design variations or visualize concepts in seconds is revolutionary. It speeds up the initial stages dramatically.
I agree with Ethan on the utility, but I'm more focused on the philosophical implications. My argument is that AI will fundamentally redefine artistic originality. What does it mean to be original when algorithms can generate endless permutations of styles? It forces us to rethink creativity itself.
That's a deep one, Chloe. What about Daniel's take? He was pretty vocal about this last week.
Daniel's quite pessimistic. He firmly believes that AI could lead to widespread job displacement in fields like graphic design, copywriting, and even music composition. He sees a future where human creatives are simply outcompete.
And Olivia? She seemed more optimistic.
Olivia's main point was that AI will actually enhance access to creative expression. She thinks it can democratize art, allowing people without traditional skills to create complex pieces, lowering the barrier to entry for many.
Now listen and answer questions 26 to 30. So, for the actual presentation, what kind of consensus can we present? We can't just list a bunch of contrasting opinions.
I think we all generally agree that the future isn't about AI replacing humans, but about collaboration. The challenge is defining that collaboration.
Yes, and a big part of that is the need for new regulations. The current legal frameworks simply aren't equipped to handle the complexities of AI-generated content and intellectual property. We need proper guidelines.
And from an educational standpoint, training programs for artists need to shift. Instead of seeing AI as a competitor, it should be taught as a utility tool, something to enhance their existing skills, not replace them. It's about learning to prompt and guide, not code.
Exactly. And we must also address the issue of algorithmic bias. If the AI is trained on data that reflects existing societal biases, Its creative output might inadvertently perpetuate those biases. Fairness is paramount.
We should also touch upon the long-term societal impact of AI art. Will it devalue human creativity? Or will it push us towards new, unforeseen artistic frontiers? These are big questions for future discussions.
For the presentation itself, I think we should aim to gather diverse examples of AI-generated art, both the successful and the controversial, to illustrate our points rather than just talk theoretically. It will make it more engaging.
Good idea. That will definitely make our arguments more concrete. That is the end of section 3. You now have half a minute to check your answers.
Now turn to Section 4. Section 4. You will hear a university lecturer giving a talk on the fascinating world of biomimetics and its unexpected applications. First, you have some time to look at questions 31 to 40. Good morning, class. Today, we're going to explore the truly inspiring field of biomimetics, a discipline that looks to the natural world for innovative solutions to human problems. At its heart, biomimetics is the imitation of natural designs and processes. It's built on the core idea that nature, through billions of years of evolution, has already perfected countless solutions for efficiency, sustainability, and optimal material use. Unlike traditional engineering, which often starts with a human problem and then seeks a solution, biomimetics begins by identifying a natural model that has already solved a similar challenge. Then, engineers and scientists work to abstract that principle and apply it to human design. The ultimate goal is to create more efficient and resilient systems that work in harmony with the environment, rather than against it. Now you have some time to look at questions 36 to 40. Let's look at some fascinating examples of biomimetics in action, many of which have truly unexpected applications. First, consider the high-speed train, specifically the Japanese Shinkansen, or bullet train. When engineers were trying to reduce the loud boom sound it made when exiting tunnels, they looked to nature. The solution came from the kingfisher bird's beak, which allows it to dive into water with almost no splash. By redesigning the train's nose to mimic this shape, they drastically minimized drag and noise, making it quieter and faster. Next, self-cleaning paint. This innovation was inspired by the lotus leaf, which is famous for its ability to remain spotless even in muddy environments. This is due to its microscopic surface structure, which causes water to bead up and roll off, carrying dirt with it. This characteristic of mimicking a natural waterproof surface has been applied to paints and coatings for buildings. Then there are surgical adhesives. Traditional medical glues often struggle to bond effectively in moist, biological environments. Scientists found inspiration in mussels, which produce incredibly strong glues that work underwater. Research into these natural adhesives has led to the development of new surgical glues that provide strong adhesion in wet conditions, revolutionizing wound closure. Even wind turbine blades have benefited from biomimetics. While not directly copying an entire wing, the serrated trailing edges of owl feathers, which allow silent flight,
have inspired designs to optimize energy capture from airflow while reducing noise. Similarly, the bumps on the fins of humpback whales, which give them extraordinary maneuverability, are now being replicated in blade designs to reduce turbulence. And finally, consider a full building ventilation system. The Eastgate Center in Zimbabwe, which we've discussed before, is a classic example. It's designed to mimic the natural ventilation system of termite mounds, allowing it to regulate internal temperature passively without the need for energy-intensive air conditioning. These examples clearly demonstrate how looking to nature can provide elegant, sustainable, and highly effective solutions to our most complex challenges. Thank you. That is the end of section 4. You now have half a minute to check your answers.